Well, I've been somewhat surprised by it, both surprised and unsurprised. The fact is that they have not found any criminal liability here. On the other hand, they can't explain the tremendous inconsistencies of what happened in this particular instance, so I'm very concerned about it. They have left it open for the state to determine whether or not there has been criminal activity and whether or not people need to be indicted. But their own investigation did not disclose that, according to them. I met with the Deputy Attorney General just last night on this.
You've seen the pictures and the information of the case. How could there be no federal crime wrongdoing in the death of Trentadue?
Well, it wasn't just pictures. It was the finding of blood, the inconsistencies with regard to the death, the way the matter was covered up, really. The lack of proof that he really did harm to himself. All of this is very, very upsetting to a lot of people, including myself. Now, we haven't held a hearing on this lately because of the ongoing federal investigation. But now that the federal people have completed their analysis of this and their investigation, I think we will hold a hearing between now and the end of the year and just see what we can do to get to the bottom of this.
Is there anything further that you could do besides hold a hearing?
Not a lot. Not a lot. We've pushed the FBI and the Justice Department as far as we can push them. Now what we've got to do is push them through hearings and see what happens there. But it still doesn't mean that that justice won't be done in this case, because the state, certainly the state is looking into it and may very well decide more has to be done.
In December, you told Attorney General Janet Reno that it looked like this was murder. Do you still believe that Trentadue was murdered?
Well, I don't know that I ever went that far, but it certainly looks terrible. And it certainly makes one wonder whether or not a murder was committed or a manslaughter. It certainly has a lot of elements of questionability. And if you look at all the facts, the body, they tried to cremate the body before anybody could see that that body was bruised and battered. The blood that was found, the lack of following procedures, I mean, just go on and on. There's a lot wrong with this case, and I hope somebody will get to the bottom of it, but apparently the federal government hasn't been able to do so.
Well, if the feds can't make a case for something that happened in their institution and this man was in their custody with their people, what chance does the state have of making it?
I think it's very difficult for the state to do it, but nevertheless they may have some ways of doing it, because there were state people who may have been involved, especially from the standpoint of following up on what happened.
Well, if indeed the state does make a case in this incident, this crime, if they find it to be what occurred on federal property, is it not thus a federal crime?
Could be, and if they can make the case, we may. I'm sure the Justice Department will revisit it. I was disappointed in these findings. There are just too many unexplained facts, too much brutality apparently done, and frankly no answers. And I can't understand that.
Well, does it have the aroma of cover-up?
Yep, it has the aroma of cover-up.
You talked about holding a hearing. Will your committee have full access to the Oklahoma federal grand jury's findings?
Can I say that again?
You talked about having a hearing in this session. Will your committee have full access to the Oklahoma federal grand jury's findings?
No, we can't get into grand jury matters. See, that's one of the problems we've had, is that they always hide behind the grand jury. And when I say cover-up, I'm not saying necessarily by the Justice Department. I don't think they would cover it up, but there certainly looks like a cover-up from the beginning in this thing. And somebody other than Trentadue beat himself up, beat Trentadue up. The injuries that he suffered on his body do not appear to have been self-inflicted. Neither does the actuality of his death.
Will the subcommittee investigating the FBI crime lab also look into the handling of evidence in this case?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I think the regular hearing will go into what they did and what they failed to do. So we'll get into that regardless. And it'll probably be a full committee hearing unless we assign it to one of the subcommittees.
Do you think what's going on here is a parsing of words? They're not saying a crime wasn't committed, we just can't prove it?
I think that's basically it. They just don't have the evidence to show who did this, if anybody did. And they themselves admit that It's a very, very serious set of problems and very strange circumstances, and the facts militate that somebody's responsible here other than just plain Trentadue. And yet they haven't been able to find out who or what caused this particular problem.
What about as far as the former inmates who have come forward in the case and now say that their lives are being threatened, and one has even been sent back into the federal system because he traveled across lines from Arkansas to Oklahoma to tell his story to the Oklahoma County DA, Bob Macy, what he saw the night Trentadue died. He said that he saw an officer cleaning bloody batons the night that Trentadue died. Your comments on that?
Don't know much about that. Haven't been into that, but that's serious. That's serious stuff. And like I say, it does look bad. Somebody has not told the truth here, and somebody is in my opinion, covering up. And I wish that wasn't the case, and I'd love to have it proven that it wasn't the case. But I think it's a pretty uphill battle to prove that nothing happened here other than Trentadue's self-infliction. That doesn't look possible to me under the facts that I've seen. So I'm very concerned about it. It just appears to be a tremendous injustice as we sit here right now.
Certainly not the Justice Department. Orrin Hatch promised a hearing. It doesn't take place. He's repeatedly visited by Eric Holder. Disappears off of the political spectrum.